welcome once again to another episode of the Pre-PT Chat Live. My name is Joseph, and this is Dr. Casey Coleman, and we are the co-founders of Pre-PT Grind, where we help pre-PT students get into physical therapy school without wasting time or money. Casey, this past weekend was a big one for you, sir. Woo! Tell us a little bit before we get into this live stream tonight. Tell us a little bit about what this weekend was for you and why it's played such a big role in what your journey has been since being a pre-PT to being a PT student and now as a clinician. Talk to us about this past weekend, sir.
Yeah, basically this past weekend was everything you guys are dreaming about right now applying to PT school. About a week ago, maybe a week and a day ago, I got news that I passed the board exam. Then after that, we had our white coat ceremony, then our graduation ceremony that weekend. So it was everything. It was a culmination of getting into PT school, finishing the prereqs, going through PT school all 3 years, the ups and downs, the highs and the lows, all the clinical rotations, all the work during PT school, all that stuff. It was the grand finale of all that, the board exam, white coat ceremony, the graduation ceremony as well. So that's what was going on all last week and this past weekend. So it's everything that you guys are working so hard for right now. So that was it for me last weekend. No longer a student, no longer SPT, no longer first, second, third year, whatever you guys want to call it. That's it. I'm done, licensed, board certified, school graduated, all that stuff. So it's everything you guys are working so hard for, basically right now in this time, it being PTCAS application season right now. So that's it. That's what I've been up to for the past week and a little bit more than that. So it's on to a new chapter, on to a new journey. So it's been great.
Yes, sir. We have Nate here. Sarah Stankowski, man. It's great to see you guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. Guys, Casey, like he just said, finally got his doctorate this past weekend. Very hard earned, but this is where all of you want to go. This is where a lot of you are as pre-PTs aspiring to get to. And so tonight, this conversation tonight is not going to be like most live streams. Most live streams that we do, we are talking about strategies. We are talking about different, like a lot of details that pertain to your specific journey to where you are. Tonight, we're going to be a little more reflective. Reflective for us, but futuristic for you. So Casey, tonight, after having been a new graduate this past weekend, after having recently received or obtained his goal of becoming a clinician, now he has other goals that he's now setting, and he has different mountains now to climb. But for tonight, we want him to speak to the younger version of himself, which is all of you. And so tonight, for Casey, this is a message to the younger self, but to all of you, it's a message from your future self. There's a lot of things, guys, that so being a year out right now and Casey just being a few days out, there's a lot of things we're looking back. We didn't necessarily understand, things that concerned us or frightened us or scared us, as pre-PTs, things that we wish we would have understood or looking back would have been amazing to know. And so you guys are kind of getting a cheat sheet on what it looks like on the other side. If this is what you want, if being a clinician is what you are aspiring to do. So this is what it looks like on the other side. So tonight, if you guys have any questions for Casey or myself in regards to some of the things that Casey's about to share with all of you, feel free to drop them below and we will address them. But as always, you guys know where to reach out to us at contactpreptgrind.com, and we will be more than happy to serve you. But tonight, Casey, we got to give them a message from your future self. Casey, as a new grad physical therapist, we want you to kind of go mentally back to the Casey that was initially denied from being accepted into PT school, the Casey that was still grinding hard towards achieving a dream that many people would have given up on because they would have not been able to handle that denial that first time round. A dream that was, really, like something that you at that point were like, that's all I want. I'm not willing to let it slide by. I'm not willing to let my setback slow me down from achieving what I want. Casey, what would you say right now to the younger version of yourself?
Yeah, I would first ask myself, whether it doesn't matter where you are right now, applying a couple years from now, applying right now, working on your essay. I would ask myself, and you can ask yourself this, like, is your motivation strong enough? Is why you want to get into PT school grand enough to actually go through this, actually, take those classes, do this essay, apply to school, whatever you have to do to get in. Is it strong enough to just get in the door? Then absolutely take you through that journey of PT school itself, because it's long. Some people say, "Oh, it goes by quick," and that's debatable. I don't know. I'll let Joseph talk about that too, but it's debatable. So can your motivation, can your why bring you through that? So that's the first thing I'll probably ask myself, or tell myself when I was in your spot. Like, is my why, is the motivation strong enough? Is my reason for getting into this, practical reasons, non-practical dreams, goals, big and small, all of that, a culmination of all of that. Is it grand enough and big enough for me to actually do this and put in the work and the long hours and the loss of sleep, and all that good stuff? Is it worth it? So that's probably the first thing. Probably the first thing I would tell myself. Then we talked about this last night in our pre-PT success program group. Next thing I'd probably tell myself is, wherever you are, again, is that it'll be all right. Like, wherever you are, it'll be okay. Whether this is your second time, third time, first time applying, you're gonna live. Like, this is not gonna kill you.
Tell them.
Like, it, of course, the cliche saying, whatever doesn't kill you make you stronger, all that stuff. But it's just applying to school. That's all it is. You got to fill out some paperwork. You got to take some classes. You got to do this and that. Yes, it's stressful. Yes, you got to plan. Yes, you got to be strategic. You need mentors. You need help, so on and so forth. But it's really just a stage. It's really just a chapter in your life. And are you going to come out on the other end stronger for it? Or are you going to let it, chop you down? Are you going to go in a completely new direction because you couldn't handle a little stress for a couple months, because you couldn't take some punches, because you couldn't swim through, the storm, or whatever you want to call it? Like, is that going to tear you down from the first thing I talked about? Your why, your motivation, your willingness to go through all of that. So if your why is strong enough, then you can tell yourself, or I would tell younger version of myself, that it'll be fine. Like, you're gonna get through it. You're gonna finish your essays. Your letters of recommendation, people, they're gonna send it in, whether it takes them longer than you actually wanted or not. PTCast is gonna get all your information in. Like, they're gonna do their job. They're gonna verify your stuff. All the small things right now, it'll work itself out. It'll be fine. You can take a deep breath. You can take a day off. You can relax, enjoy yourself a little bit, because you'll make it through. You'll make it through. Then probably the last little thing before before I think of anything else, it's probably that, I think I mentioned this on a call to one of our students, but the hardest part about this whole physical therapy school, at least this part, what we're talking about now, the school thing, is getting in, then getting out. Like, that's probably the hardest part. When you're younger and you don't want to go swimming, or you don't want to get in the shower, like, the hardest part is actually getting in, testing the water, making that leap. Then the hardest part is getting out when the shower feels good, when it's warm, when it's a hot day, whatever you want to call it. That's the hardest part, is getting out of PT school as well. So once you understand that, once you're getting in, you can cruise. You can just go through the schedule. You can figure it out. You can ask your professor for help, your classmates for help, all that good stuff. But the hardest part, and that's why a lot of you are here and listening to us and our content and following us, because the hardest part is jumping in that pool of cold water and getting accepted. Exactly. Then, 3 years down the line, what Joseph went through a year ago and I just went through is getting out, graduating, passing the boards, being able to, work and make money and all that stuff. So those are the biggest things I would say to keep in mind. Is your motivation strong enough? Remember, you'll make it through. It's going to be all right. And the two hardest parts is just getting in. That's why you're here. Then getting out, and we'll help you take care of that when that comes down the line. So that's probably the biggest things I would probably tell myself, at least in this moment.
I love it. I love it. And guys, I want you to realize something. If there's anything, and tonight's live stream is not going to be a long one, but but there's a lot of things that you really need to take from this. And so you might be listening and saying, okay, that's a lot of good information, Casey. We're glad you made it. We're glad that you're a physical therapist now. But you don't kind of understand my journey, Casey. You don't understand the fact that, I'm struggling. You don't understand that this is my third time applying. You don't understand that I can't financially handle this. You don't understand that I got a family. I got kids. Casey, you don't got kids. Like, how would you understand? But what I want you guys to understand is this. If you guys are asking yourself those questions, as Casey is sharing some of these tips or these bits of advice that he would give the younger self, his younger pre-PT self, now as a physical therapist, we want you to understand this one thing, is that when Casey had been told that he was not getting into physical therapy school, he had a choice. He had a very clear choice to either pursue his dream. Obviously, it hurt. It's never easy. It was a painful process, but he had the choice whether to pursue his dream and say, all right, I didn't work out. Let me kind of go through this process of, almost like grieving my lack of acceptance, but I got to get my ish back together. So he got his grind back in, but he had a choice. He could either get it together and say that I still want this. I still want to be a physical therapist. I still want to pursue this. I still want to do whatever is necessary to obtain this degree. Or I could say, well, maybe it wasn't for me. Maybe me not getting accepted that one time is a sign. I mean, don't we all tell ourselves that? Maybe it's a sign that I wasn't supposed to be a physical therapist. Maybe I'm supposed to be something else, an athletic trainer or something else. Like, maybe this is not for me. And when we get to those points, it's almost as if we justify for ourselves that it's okay for us to settle. But when you guys look at impact, because this conversation tonight is a message from your future self. Your future self right now is Casey Coleman, right? Because he just finished. Casey Coleman right now, if he did not go back into the grind, if he did not decide to go back into, pursuing the profession that he really wanted, there's a very good chance that pre-PT grind as a platform right now does not exist. How? Well, okay, we had like when we first started, for those of you that know how pre-PT grind started, like we were at Andrews University. We were on our campus. We were serving the pre-PT students there. The initial plan was to spread via different campuses and train, students to mentor other students on different campuses. That's how we were going to spread. That's how we were going to impact more people. But the honest truth is, I had never thought about doing it online. It was fall of 2016 when Casey was like, yo, bro, like, why doesn't this thing just go online? It wasn't even called pre-PT grind then. It was just it was just a pre-PT success program and a few other things. But he was like, let's go online with this thing. That's what planted the seed for what is now pre-PT grind. So even us getting to this point has a big part to do with Casey not giving up on his dream. So even our ability to serve you would have been completely diminished. Now, would there have been someone else that would have come and served you? Oh, probably. But right now, as is, the purpose that we have to serve pre-PTs would have not been realized because Casey would have cut himself short from achieving his dream. So right now, if you're listening and you're saying, well, Casey, Joseph, I have certain things that are holding me back from pursuing. I have, done the GRE 3 or 4 times and it's not working out. I have, pursued the profession and I've gotten denied a few times. I don't have the means. I'm too old. I'm too young. I got all these different. Those are just excuses, but it's all like those all define the story and the outcome of your particular situation. You're going to be able to serve a lot more people because you're able to relate with them on things that we even can't, right? And so in doing so, you are going to impact so many more people, not only your patients, but the people around you. Casey deciding, his younger self deciding, I want this bad enough to be able to like get into this profession. I want to do whatever I got to do to get in. Whatever it takes, I'm going to pursue it. I'm going to be relentless. I'm going to like find whatever guidance I can. My computer battery is dying right now. That's why I'm trying to look around and get it charged. But if he had not continued to pursue it, there's a good chance a lot of good things would have not happened. So don't give up. Don't give up on what you want. If this is what you want, that's why we come on every week. That's why we do our podcast. That's why we're gonna keep giving and giving and giving and giving until somebody on here who needs to hear this message hears it. Because you can't give up on what you want. When we talk about, strategies of how to get in, it's not just because we just like talking about that. It's because we want to give you as many solutions as possible to get into the profession that you want. Because there are so many stumbling blocks or so many hurdles that are slowing all of us down from achieving them. And if that's what you want, if you want to obtain what Casey just did this past weekend, then that's what it's going to take. It might mean that you need a strong community. You might need people around you to help you do that. You might need, videos like this just to keep inspiring you. You might need, to start, just executing all the things that you're thinking about doing, being more intentional about it. There's so many things that we can do, but as we continue to give, just understand that that's the primary message we want. We just don't want y'all to give up on what you want. And if this is what you want, then we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that you guys have all the tools you need to make that a reality. Will it all happen in the same time frame? No. Did it for Casey and myself, did it happen in the same time frame? No. We started our bachelor's degree together, but it didn't. But here we are, both physical therapists. So take heart with that, guys. Don't give up. Keep pursuing excellence. Keep grinding. That's why we call it pre-PT grind. And understand that we're in your corner. We're going to be here to serve you. If you guys have any questions, anything that you want to inquire about, ask about, just reach out to us at contactpreptgrind.com and ask us. We want to help you in any way we can, guys. And so, as Casey said, there's a lot of good things waiting for y'all on the other side. And this is a message from your future self reminding you of that. So if you're in a dark place right now, if you're in a frustrating place right now, stay true to that. Hone in on that. Accept that. Hold on to what Casey just shared with y'all, because that's where the magic happens. That's it. Anything else, Casey?
That's it. Don't be selfish. Don't be selfish with whatever you can give to the public, future patients, pre-PTs coming down the line when you're done, because who knows who could be counting on you. If you stop your dream now, you might be being selfish. Why be selfish when you could be selfless to the people coming after you, for the people waiting on you? So like everything Joseph said, if I was selfish, if Joseph was selfish himself at the time we were pre-PTs, we may not even know that any of you exist. You may not know that we exist right now. So if you're going through a dark time, just remember that. Don't be selfish to yourself and to others who you can impact in the future. So that's it.
That's it. Y'all have a great evening. Every Wednesday, guys, we're always going to drop a podcast. We're here every Thursday night doing a live stream. But if you guys ever want us to talk about anything, and we've had a few people reach out to us with different topics that they want to hear, reach out to us, send us a message at contactpreptgrind.com. We want to make sure that you guys are receiving the best possible, level of content for what your needs are to be, in order for you to be able to achieve those goals. And if you guys are listening because we turn this into podcast episodes, if you guys are listening on the podcast episode, it's thank you so much for always being on with us, being so consistent, listening to us. If you're driving, if you're, at home, whatever it is, we really do appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for deciding that this journey is worth it enough for you to learn as much as possible to equip yourself with the ability to get to your goals. Y'all have a great evening. Have a blessed Thursday. We'll talk soon. Bye.